What is going on, everybody? Chris here, and we're about to set off on another huge road trip in the Cybertruck. We're going down to Florida, so from Michigan to Florida, if you're not familiar with the channel. And this is going to be a little different than last year's Cybertruck road trip. So we did this in March of 2024. It's now the end of December 2024, and we're going to start heading to Florida. And it's going to be different than actually any of our other electric road trips, mostly because we haven't gone this time of year. And if you know anything about electric vehicles, you know that in the winter, in the cold, they don't have as much range. They sometimes will not charge as fast. So we're going to experience all that with you here, share all the details of how that goes. I don't think it's going to be too bad, and I'll get into that in a bit. But let me show you how we're setting up here, using a lot of stuff from the sponsor, Joa. Use the link down below, save 5%, check them out. Now, the Cybertruck can get some water in the bed. And of course, we're going to be putting all of our stuff in here, but we don't want all our luggage and all that to get wet. So what I'm going to do, we didn't do this last year. I don't really think we need to do it this year, but Stephanie saw a post online and then she was concerned. So we'll do it. I'm going to put a tarp down and then I'm just going to put it over the stuff, because what happens when water gets into the Cybertruck bed? Here, let me show you. So you can see right here, it's a little bit wet right there. Here, I don't think that's wet at all. That's not wet, and you can see a little bit of wetness down there. So what happens is in the corners, you'll get just a little bit, even in super heavy rain, you'll get a little bit of water can leak into the corners here, and here. Usually I'll get none at all. Sometimes I get a little bit like what you see back there. And so the worst part is the bottom of your stuff might get a tiny bit, a little wet. But it's, to be fair, it's good to keep all your stuff safe when you're going on a big road trip like this. So if I put the tarp down, really that's going to protect the bottom of everything. You have these channels, so nothing's going to be resting on the actual bottom where you see that water is really tracking right there. It tracks down and drains out down this way. And so the tarp will keep all that safe from the wetness on the bottom. And then by folding it over, of course, then nothing will leak kind of onto the top of the tarp or onto the top of anything else. So that's the plan for the bed. I don't know if it's really necessary, but we'll do it. Why not? It's not going to hurt anything. And then when you have this closed, of course, it keeps mostly everything dry. It'll keep all the rain out. There's not supposed to be much rain as we're driving, but whatever. Now we'll be safe from that. We're still on the stock all-terrain tires that we had originally, except now we have the covers. We didn't have these wheel covers when we first took delivery, so that's pretty cool. Going in the back here, we did not have this storage bin last time. We did still store some things under the seat, but it'll be nice to have it a little more organized. You can see I have some water there. I'm going to add a few more things in there. But then you can close this and have all that stuff stored under there. And we also have a Starlink this time. So I'm bringing the Starlink Mini. I'm going to have it hooked up there, and that'll be good. There's several spots where you lose connectivity on the way, especially in the mountains. And if nothing else, for like some type of emergency, it's nice to always have an option for connection. I don't foresee us needing that, but you never know. So we'll have that, and it'll be good for internet in the spots where it drops out. Not needed a ton, but there's enough that I think it's worth bringing it with us. And then I have it routed. The cable goes down here. It goes in there, you can see, and then I have it come out right there, and I'll just plug it in, and then that'll be it. It'll work beautifully as we go. The frunk, last time we used mostly for hotel stuff. Looks like Stephanie's kind of getting that ready again here. So these are things that we're going to use in the hotel. The frunk is just so easy to access at all times versus the bed, which the bed's going to be packed with all of our normal luggage and blah, 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 everything we're bringing with us. This doesn't have that much room in it, which actually can work to your benefit. You can just put everything in here that you want to grab easily, and it's right in the front. It's not going to be buried under anything. Of course, on top of that, for the bed, we will then also keep anything we want just in the back of the bed. And the stuff we're not going to access throughout the road trip will be in the back of the bed. If we absolutely need something, of course, you can dig everything out. But the point is to keep everything relatively simple. Now, I mentioned charging could be a little slower. Normally on road trips, you don't have to worry about it except in the beginning. So when you first start off, if your battery is cold, let's say I go right from home to a supercharger 5 minutes away. I would never do that, but let's say I did. My battery is going to be cold. It's going to take time for the battery to warm up to really receive the full power of the supercharger. When you're on a long road trip, like tomorrow we'll probably be driving 12 hours, maybe a little more than that, you hop from charger to charger. And so yes, after you leave a charger, your battery does cool down, but it never cools back to ambient, right? It stays at a warm operational temperature. As you are routing to each supercharger, as you approach it, the battery will then kick on the heaters. However, it does that. Usually doesn't have dedicated heaters anymore. And it'll ramp up the temperature of your battery as you approach supercharger so you can get that full charge rate. So I don't think the cold's really going to be an issue. It's not going to be like sub-zero temperatures or anything. Right now in Michigan, it's like 35 degrees, which for end of December is pretty warm. It's not crazy warm, but it's a little warmer than normal, I would say. And I don't think it's going to be something we really deal with. I do think we're going to see reduced range compared to last year. So I will, compared to March, I should say. So I will put up those stats. I'll compare the old drive to this one, and we'll really get to dig into how the temperatures affect this road trip. But again, having 2 young kids, I don't think the charging is really going to be our limiting factor. We may wait at 1 charge stop or 2 charge stops, but we'll see about that. The other thing to keep in mind here is that the Cybertruck charging curve has been improved since I took delivery in March. So it's not dramatically better, but especially at the lower end from the 0 to 30-ish% area, you are getting better charging, especially if we can find a version 4 supercharger or version 3.5, whatever you want to call it. Then we will get better charging if we can roll in there at less than 30%, which of course I always aim to do. We will get slightly better charging times than we did last time, as long as, the temperature is good and all that. So overall, if you've never seen an electric road trip thing, you might be like, whoa, what are you talking about? You don't have to do any of this. If you want to take a Tesla, I should say, on a road trip, you put in your destination and you go to the chargers, and that's it. It's not complicated. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to plan. You could plan a little bit. You don't have to plan at all if you don't want. You don't have to think about your battery temperature. You don't have to do anything. This video is to really dig into the data. This is for nerds. This is for us to learn about how, these different things work and interact. Sorry, still just getting over sickness. So I got to keep cutting. But I don't want to freak anyone out. Some people see this, like this is their first electric vehicle video they see. And they're like, oh my God, I can never, own that. At the end of the day, I could put in my Florida destination. The car will tell me charge here, charge here, charge here, charge here on the way, and then we'd arrive. That's it. I mean, it's not too complicated. All right, my phone's almost dead, but let me show you what I'm doing here. Put the tarp out. This tarp is way too big, so I'll probably have folded in half. We borrowed it from my father-in-law. I didn't go out and get one in time. You know how it is. And the idea is again that the water is going to kind of dribble in the sides and just go under this thing, and the luggage will be in there. This looks so goofy now that I'm recording this, but it'll look better when I get it all set up. But yeah, I'm gonna have a little extra on all the sides, put everything sensitive in there, and then just kind of drape the sides over, kind of like what you're seeing here, just like this. Because again, water doesn't come pouring in the top or anything. It just, like I showed you earlier, I mean, you can see it right there. It just kind of dribbles down the sides like that. So that's kind of the plan for that. I think we'll be all good. All right, I did switch it up a little bit. It's a little dark because I'm covering some of the lights, but I unfolded it. I put them in the middle there, and I basically had all this. I'm probably talking too much about this, but whatever, this is what I'm doing. These were hanging out the sides. I put the suitcases in there. I can move them over a little bit, and then that's it. They're gonna be covered. We're done. So all the sensitive stuff will go in there. Other stuff will go on top. So Cybertruck wasn't fancy enough to build the step into the tailgate, so I'm using that, which has made this whole process a heck of a lot easier. But here's basically what I was talking about. So we have the stuff all up there, and then this I'm just gonna throw like that, and like that's it. That's sealed enough. That obviously doesn't need to be taken care of. Here's some beach umbrellas that I just kind of shoved on the side there, and all this like this there. So like water's not gonna get in there at all, not even close in any capacity. We have a couple more things. Actually, this is pretty much it. I'm gonna throw a couple bikes in there. Kids' bikes. There's tons of room. This is all just air. Here, let me show you. So, like, there's tons of space still. Everything, that's all still fillable with stuff. But we're pretty much done. We're gonna add one more thing to the front. A couple of things maybe inside. But that's basically it. So we're ready to go for tomorrow. Getting ready to hit the road here. We got our cooler, which is plugged into the normal wall outlet back there. But since we're still plugged in at home, cannot turn that on until we leave. So that's been plugged in all night. It's obviously fine for a few minutes. Starlink is going from here. That's also plugged in. Really wish these USB-C ports had a little glowing thing around them. They are so hard to find in the dark. But if you look up there, you can see the Starlink is powered on. It's booting up. So we'll just have that running the whole time. Why not? And then the truck, if I zoom in here, is charging up. Fortunately, you can see we're only at what's that say, 29, 26, 29 amps. Get out of here. Not getting full amperage. We've been charging for like almost an hour now, and it just doesn't want to ramp up, but we're at 91%, so it doesn't really matter that much. All right, y'all, we're off on the road. We started driving here, got out a little after 7, which is really nice, and our plan, which I'm 99% sure we'll stick to, is to get to North Carolina by the end of today. This is saying we're going to get there at 7 p.m., so about 12 hours, which actually seems a little low. That includes charging and everything. So I think
take us longer than that.
Yeah. We were planning on a little longer. We pretty much can never just stick to the charging. We pretty much always do extra stops. So the first stop is in a little over 2 hours. I'd love to make it there. I'd love to just have FSD do the whole thing and be able to be like, yo, FSD did this whole stretch, but the first stop sign, I already had to hit the accelerator because it didn't want to go. So, very first stop sign in the journey. Right off the dirt road, it just sat there. That's what it does. But yeah, a little over 2 hours. Probably have to stop for the kids, I would guess, before then. But if not, we're going to go straight there. It says we'll get there with 18%. I was hoping to roll into these a little lower than that, but the trip planner is still a little conservative in that regard, and it usually likes to get you there above 15-ish%. But when we get closer, we'll just try to push it to get there closer to 10% or a little less than that, which I don't know exactly what that would look like if we like put these chargers up. Oh yeah, there's not really another one for a long time, so might not have much of a choice, but we'll do what we can to arrive as low as we can and try to check out some of these newer, higher charging speeds that the Cybertruck has compared to the last road trip. I don't think we're probably going to notice much of a difference, especially because, well, right now we're at 460 watt-hours per mile, and I actually remember last time we left in March, I think it was actually colder than it is right now. Remember?
It was
yeah.
25 degrees.
There you go. So Stephanie's saying it was 25 degrees last time. Right now it's 38 degrees. So funny enough, end of December is warmer on this go-around than the, what was it, middle of March or beginning of March?
In middle of March.
Yeah.
Well, and the mountains in West Virginia.
Hold on.
The mountains of West Virginia, it was like 20 degrees, remember, and snowing. And according to the weather forecast now, it's supposed to be in the 50s.
So there you go. We have a lot of advantages this time. Actually didn't expect that. I thought this was going to be colder. That's actually so funny.
The way home will be a different story.
The way home might be colder. That'll be mid-January. And we'll have a lot less attention this time, which will save us a ton of time. The way down there last time, we really took our time. We talked to everybody. Everyone wanted to check it out. I mean, I don't think we had a single stop where people weren't checking it out and taking pictures. This time, I don't expect that, like, at all. Maybe a couple of people here and there, which is all good. Will be nice. I don't mind. But I think that aspect, the time will be far reduced. So off we go. Let's get to this first charger. Alrighty, so we have been driving this whole time. We have not stopped, and it looks like we're gonna make it to our first stop with no stops in between, which is pretty awesome. I gotta say, FSD on this drive this year has been pretty nice compared to last year. We only had traffic-aware cruise control, and this time I've done pretty much nothing. I've done a few speed adjusts. When we got into Ohio, I went into autopilot and set my max speed offset to plus 5% because Ohio is not nice to Michigan plates, especially if you're in something like a Cybertruck. They're going to be even worse. But other than that, I've done a few speed changes. I've done a couple of lane changes, mostly just to get out of the passing lane sooner. I've been in standard ever since we've been in Ohio, and it's just been flawless. I mean, it's staying centered in the lane nicely, which I think was still kind of an issue for Cybertruck, is on the highway is not staying centered. But all lane changes have been great. We've had some slowdowns where traffic came to kind of an abrupt stop or an abrupt slowdown at least. Cybertruck slowed down, sped right back up, didn't get in anyone's way. I mean, it's just been pretty much perfect. It's been a really, really good FSD experience this whole way. So we've been warming up the battery for probably over a half hour now. We had about an hour left until the stop, and that's when this message popped up that it's preconditioning the battery. So should be all ready to go for this, I believe, version 3 supercharger at a Meijer, and it'll be at an Arby's. At an Arby's. I forgot about that. This is Arby's, not Meijer. We actually went to this same one last time. It says we only need 18 minutes here. I imagine we'll take just about that, maybe a couple extra minutes, and we'll move on. All right, we'll plug in there. That is blue. I heard a big clunk. And we should probably hit our full charge rate almost immediately, I would guess. Usually takes just a second. But we can come check on this in a minute. You want to just go?
Yeah, did you show me charger?
Yeah, we're set to 100. So, yep, we're flying past 89, 99, 109. So, yep, looking good here. I hear the supercharger whirring up. So, we're going to run in, use the bathroom and stuff, and we'll be back. All right, you had to get the AM Crunch Wrap, of course. The charger is at the Arby's, but Arby's is closed. So we just walked over to Taco Bell. They're open. It's all good. And we're charging over there. Let me check the app, actually. By the time we get back, it might just about be done. So it says 5 minutes to continue trip. So we'll let the kids bounce around a little bit, buckle them up, and just head off. So really nice charging experience on the first one. We got the full rate the whole time. All right, so we're already messing with the truck's plans. It was ready to go. We want to take a different route than Tesla's suggesting, because we've done this a few times now and we just like that route better. So we're gonna stop again in like an hour, which is not exactly ideal, but it's the best way to take the route we want to take. So we're gonna head out now. And it's funny, we were talking to that guy in the Model Y. He just picked it up. And he said, where has this thing been the last 10 years? He is absolutely loving it. He said he's already saved so much money on gas. He's a real estate agent. And he loves the FSD. He's got the 3 free months of supercharging, the 3 free months of FSD. And he's just having the best time. It's so cool to see a new Tesla owner. So excited.
Now I get to try the V13 on the Cybertruck.
All right, let's see what you think.
Alright, we're pulling up to a Columbus supercharger, and we kind of messed up a little bit because we're trying to avoid this one route that has lots of traffic lights and things, and in doing that we had to stop at another supercharger because it's a very rural area that we're going to go through, and so we ended up in a stretch with a bunch of traffic lights. So we probably added a little bit of time to our trip, but whatever, at least we don't have to drive.
What did you think of the Cybertruck FSD?
Cybertruck FSD is amazing. It's so boring, which is wonderful because I didn't have to do anything. It's great. This is crazy.
Yeah. This one now? Whoa.
I do not remember this one. Oh, I do remember this one.
Yeah, this is a cool one.
Okay, we did come here before. Okay.
Now you have to drive. All right, so Stephanie's backing up to the other charger because this one I tried to plug in, and hopefully it's coming up on the camera. I'll take a picture, but this pin is bent, so you can't plug that in. I'll try to report that, but yep, can't charge at that one. It's like a charger down. And then if you go to this one, can see that's all good. You gotta put it in park. And that fits right in there. And I'm gonna fix that too. All right, I don't know what's going on with this nav. It was saying 71 north for the longest time.
It just changed
But
to south.
now it changed 71 south. I just let the Cybertruck drive because, like, obviously we're going south, but it's like, I don't know. The nav was super messed up. There was another thing right before that where it was the same thing. It was saying on here, the text was saying a certain way, but the map was showing a different way. So I just followed what the map said and let the Cybertruck do what it wanted, and it got us the right way. So I have no idea. I'm letting FSD do a lot of this, especially at the confusing parts. So now we should just be on this road for a long time. Supercharger-wise, I don't know, like Stephanie said earlier, we kind of just messed everything up. We could have went a little farther than this, but we're just gonna try to follow it. Honestly, if I was doing this, I would just like put my final destination and change nothing and just like follow it the whole way. But we were trying to avoid some, I don't know, traffic lights or something. And now the timing of the stops is weird. Like we're gonna get to the next one at 22% when we should have got there with 10%. So we're definitely wasting like a little bit of time, mostly just with our weird navigation choices. Nothing as usual, nothing or very little to do with the charging situation. Few drops of rain. We're using the new radar ability. You can see the storm front is moving in. So this is, you said, the one rain we expect on the way down. So we just have this one rain that we expect, and that should be it weather-wise. But it's nice to have this built right into the Tesla. All right, so here we are at the last charger. We are just about to pull in here. It's supposed to be a 30-minute charge. I'm still letting Cybertruck kind of do everything here. Supposed to be a 30-minute charge. We're gonna try to do it in time, but this is like our big midday stop. We're gonna eat lunch and hang out and kind of take a little break because we've been going like nonstop. We haven't made any extra stops, right? We've only made the charging stops. So we've done really good. We're making great time. Everything's looking really good here. So right about here is where I would take over to park. Oh, we got a Rivian. Look at that. He's taking up 2. He's got to take up 2 spots for that charging, but there's plenty of room, so no big deal. I'm just going to pull in over here, a couple away from him. We're going to get plugged in and get some really fast charging. So we came here last year. On the way home, we stopped at this one and ate here and everything as well. Sheetz, I messed that up at first, but look at that, it's gonna work. Sheetz is just a great stop. They have everything you need, super clean, really convenient. All right, we're pulling to the Princeton, West Virginia supercharger. We've been to this one many times. It's a nice one with 8 stalls, but it says there's a wait. Less than 5 minutes, it says. So, oh, look at that guy. We got a Cadillac Lyric using it. At least he's on the end. Oh, a couple of non-Teslas are using it, but it looks like they're on the end, so they're not taking up an extra stall like they have to. So we'll just wait in line, and when these spots clear up, it's real busy right now. It's getting close to rush hour. It's the end of the day on a Friday. And as these spots clear up, we'll just pull in as we can. All right, so we ended up waiting approximately, I don't know, 20 seconds. There was actually an open stall, but there was a minivan parked at it. And as soon as we kind of parked there and I turned the camera off, I think they saw that and they moved. So we pulled in, and at the same time other cars left. So pretty much nobody waited. Like 2 or 3 other Teslas came up after us and everybody plugged in immediately. So ended up working out fine. This is the second time we've come across that situation. And the last time it was the same thing. We like parked and we're like, oh my gosh, we have to wait. And then as soon as we said that, like somebody left. So still a good experience. And this was a 2-minute charge. So I don't know, we messed this all up. All right, so that last charge needed to be 3 minutes and we took 13 to just a tiny bit of a walk to get over to the building over there, but all good. And then as soon as we were leaving, a deer ran out in front of the Cybertruck. Of course, the one time I don't hit record immediately as we're leaving a supercharger because we were just trying to get back on the road since it was such a short little charge we needed. But yeah, deer ran out. I saved the clip, at least. Here's the Sentry Mode clip. And I felt a little braking from the Cybertruck, and I kind of looked around because I was like, why are you braking? And then I just see this thing dart in front of me, and without just that little bit of braking that was preemptive to the thing coming in front of us, we would have at least tapped it. I mean, I think the Cybertruck would have been fine. That little deer probably would not have been fine. But yeah, I just saw this flash, and we didn't touch it. So that was actually really nice. See how I reached for the turn signal there? I didn't actually touch it. It just made that lane change. It's like we're connected in the mind, but I could see this guy coming up quick behind me, so I wanted to move over, and Cybertruck did it nicely. So yeah, we're going through the mountains here. We're about to go under them and through them or whatever. We are gonna end up, yeah, it wants us to stop at that supercharger. I think we've been there before as well. And then we'll just have a little bit more driving to get to where we want for our hotel. But at this point, it's just kind of like, we're just gonna drive and stop at some point and pick a hotel and sleep there. So it's been really smooth the whole day. FSD has been beautiful. The Cybertruck has been super comfortable. And then the other big thing that's so different this time is nobody cares. And like, it was fun last time, don't get me wrong, because the Cybertruck, we only had it for a day at the time, and it was fun to talk to everyone and blah, blah, blah. But like, you know, a couple of people have looked, obviously, but people look at you when you're in any car. So we haven't stopped to talk to a single person. Nobody, the very first guy who got his new Model Y asked like, hey, how do you like the truck? So I talked to him about that for a minute and talked to him about his new Tesla. But besides that one interaction, there's really been nothing, which, you know, don't get me wrong, if an excited kid comes up or whatever, wants to check it out, that's cool too. But it is nice to have a little bit of that freedom back, to not have everybody wanting to talk to you and everybody want to blah, blah, blah. The toll roads, everyone's probably, you know, seen enough Cybertrucks by now that like, I'm sure it sticks out a little bit, but it's like, oh yeah, I've seen those around. So it's been a nice, smooth, comfortable experience. All right, so we got a little tiny tour here. So originally, you can actually see on the left, I don't know how well it'll show up on the camera, but we were gonna take the highway all the way down, and it just, you know, at some point changed it on us. We didn't even really know. And it saved us 20 to 30 minutes, somewhere in there. There must be an accident or whatever's going on the highway, and we're taking these kind of random back roads. But again, like, FSD is just doing all of it. I'm kind of looking around like, where are we? This is so weird. But the Cybertruck can just kind of handle all of it and do this rerouting for you and do all the driving. It hasn't been perfect. I've had to do some weird, like, I tried to change lanes with the lane change button, and it just doesn't do it. It just like turns the turn signal back off on me, which is weird. And then, you know, a couple times where I'm messing with the speed and stuff, but for the most part, it's been doing, 99% of the driving easily. You had one critical, I would call it. Okay, so Stephanie basically took over once because the Cybertruck was getting a little too close to semi-trucks. I don't know, she says it would have been fine, but I remember thinking like, oh yeah, that was good. Like, we kind of needed to take over there because it was kind of screwing up. But yeah, for the most part, compared to last year, again, last year we didn't have FSD, we had traffic aware cruise control, which did help a lot. But even the traffic aware cruise control, I remember getting scared of the semis a couple times. We'd be going past them and it would try to brake for them and stuff. So just way, way nicer this year.
Okay, so we have a real supercharger problem where this is the last supercharger until we get down closer to like Charlotte, which we're going down this way. And so we can't make it to these next ones. And it's at a grocery store, like a little tiny podunk, like Circle K grocery store, and there's nothing around. No fast food, no nothing. So we really need more superchargers in this area, like in this stretch. One more at least, just to give you another option, would be really awesome.
Yeah, and to add on to that, because like with the current setup, obviously you can make it, no problem. It's just when you lack those, obviously when you're in a gas car, you can just choose and stop anywhere you want at any point. Here you have multiple choices to an extent, but when you get to stretches like this that Stephanie just showed, then you don't have choices. And we really don't need to stop. We're gonna have over 20% at this next stop, which is kind of annoying. And then, but we have to stop there in order to make that big stretch of no superchargers. So just having more then gives you options to stop less and make your charging a little more efficient. So we're at our last charging stop of the day. It's just like exactly 7 p.m. We've gone for just about 12 hours, a little less than that so far. And then the next stop is our hotel. So that is a little over an hour away. So just as we planned in the beginning, we're gonna be driving about 13 hours. It's a little more, it's like an hour 20 or something. So it's going like exactly according to plan, which is crazy, especially because we kind of messed with the route and had some really weird charging stops, like the 3-minute supposed charging stop that was actually 13 minutes. We just stopped and ate dinner and just kind of hung out there like not charging. We just parked and went in and ate. You know, we have a cooler with us in the back with a bunch of food, so we brought most of that in for the kids and all that. And it's just crazy how according to plan it's going. And then the best part about this last stop is there's actually a supercharger at the hotel. So it's kind of the best for me. When the hotels have level 2 charging, so like at home, like 48 amps or whatever, where you can charge overnight, that's nice too. But in the case of our cooler, especially when it's plugged in, you can't do AC charging and have accessories powered by the outlets. So this actually works better because I can leave the cooler in the Cybertruck. I can get it charged to 95 or whatever percent before we leave, and then leave in the morning pretty much fully charged after only charging for less than an hour, but at our final destination. So we're not like, it's not adding to our charging time, I would call it, because we do park there anyway because we're at the hotel. So everything went incredibly smooth today, including like the traffic jam didn't add that much time because of the rerouting. The fog was insane. It was so hard to see. I think that's all the traffic jam was, is there was just so much fog in the mountains. But yeah, this is like 14-minute charging stop, and we're just ready to go. So we're sitting in the car. The second it says it's time to go, we're unplugging and we're out. So this will be a 14-minute stop, and then we'll do our, you know, last charge at the hotel. The kids will be sleeping. I'll go out and do that after everyone's settled to save time that way. So we'll skip a stop essentially doing that. But yeah, day one, I couldn't really have gone better. Really nice. I will also add the auto wipers. I don't know if I put this at any part yet. They are awful. While it's sunny, they're going off, like not that often, but often enough that you have to have them off while using FSD. And then while it's raining, they're like going insane when there's just like like it's raining right now, just like barely. And the auto wipers are just like nonstop. So Cybertruck auto wipers are no good. And the why they seem to be working well in this, they're still really goofy. All right, just quick end of day recap. We're at 95% at this supercharger stop. I kind of want to hit 100% because the Cybertruck's going to be on tonight with the cooler in the back and use some energy on that. And if I'm at 100%, I'll leave Sentry mode on too. So it won't sit at 100% for long, and no big deal. Do that every once in a while. Storage at 100% is what's the worst for the battery. But yeah, I mean, again, today could not have went more smooth, and it's so interesting. So we got to this supercharger with like 12%, I think, and we didn't hit peak rate. I don't know what the preconditioning was doing, but it didn't start preconditioning until we were like 15 minutes away. Whereas other supercharger stops, I saw it preconditioning like an hour ahead of time. So I'm guessing that if you're gonna roll in with a lot lower state of charge, I'm totally guessing it's preconditioning less so that you're not arriving too low, right? It doesn't want to like get you stranded because it uses all your energy preconditioning. I don't know. But we still hit I don't know, I'll put the chart up, 220-ish kilowatts which is, you know, not that bad. And it's so crazy how fast this is when you're doing stuff. So like, this is one of the spots where the EV has an advantage over gas, because we got to the hotel, and this hotel has supercharging. I'm at the hotel right now, supercharging. Plugged in, the door's right there. We got all our stuff, went in, got the kids ready for bed, blah, 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 blah. I come out, it's at like 90%. It's crazy. And like, I don't have to sit here. I could just go to bed, but I kind of want to just hang out and get it to 100%, and just kind of for the data and to check it out and stuff. But it's crazy how fast it is when you're busy doing other things. So yeah, it went really well. I don't think we could have gone much faster than we did. All the stops were needed, but I'm very happy that we didn't make like extra stops. We kind of messed up again with like one extra charging stop because we changed our route and did some weird stuff. But other than that, I'm really happy that we didn't have to make any extra like bathroom stops or anything like that. It's awesome. So it was a really successful day. Tomorrow should be shorter. We shouldn't be driving as long. We shouldn't have to charge as much, and we'll try to do more optimal charging and everything. I really want to roll into these stops with 5%, but I'm finding it hard to do. I'm finding it hard to do with the kids because they make us take a little extra time, and then we end up overcharging. And it's just, we're just not fast enough. I mean, that's all it is. So another couple of years, you know, maybe we'll get better at this and be faster. But anyway, let's move on to day 2, finish this up, and I'll give you the stats of the full trip. I also want to add the charging time we did today. So we drove a little over 13 hours, and we charged for an hour and 47 minutes. And like, I don't know, man. We had a little over 13-hour day and an hour and 40, not counting this charge. I'm not counting this one because we're at the hotel. We'd be here anyway. An hour, 47 minutes of charging for a 13+ hour day. We made one extra stop. I said we didn't, but we made one for dinner. I don't know, I'm tired. We made one extra stop for dinner. We didn't need any like detours, like, oh crap, we got to go do this now. It was like they were all planned, is kind of what I was thinking. You add in that dinner, we were probably there for 25 minutes, let's say. Like, you know, if you didn't have kids, especially if you're by yourself, trust me, I've done it. This should be for the end of the video, but I can't get it out of my head. I've done it, man. I own gas cars for 15 years, way longer than I own electric cars. I drove from Massachusetts to Detroit with one stop. Okay, I did the marathoning thing. I've driven from Michigan to Florida. I've done big road trips in gas cars, okay? I don't want to do that. I could buy a gas car if I want. Like, I could just get rid of the Cybertruck and buy a gas car. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do it. And if I did, we would probably just fly to Florida. I mean, you kind of would need to rent a car. I wouldn't like that aspect, and it'd be hard to bring your stuff with you, so maybe not. But I don't know. I don't know how to get it across. If you own an EV and you like doing this stuff, then you get it. But like, how do you explain it to people? You can't understand it without experiencing it. And don't get me wrong, there might be people that buy an EV, have it for a year or 2 years or whatever, or do some road trips with it, and they're like, oh, I don't like this. Like, okay, cool. Then go buy it. You can buy whatever you want. Go switch it out for something else. I don't know how to get it across without you just living it yourself, that like, this is way a preferred method of travel. I think a lot of people hear that charging time of an hour 47 minutes and they think, oh my gosh, you added an hour 47 minutes to your trip, without realizing that they stop all over the place too getting gas. Again, you can force yourself to pump gas and then go park and then go pee and like get back in the car. That's still gonna be a 20-minute stop. Like, you don't get it. You just don't get it. You just don't get it. And then when you get to your final destination, you're way more exhausted because you didn't take little breaks here and there. I know I'm partially preaching to the choir because a lot of my audience is like people that own these things and do this stuff. But if you're watching this and you don't own it, you don't own an EV, you think that the charging is bad or that road tripping an EV is bad, I don't know. I'm making sure my charging is not done. I don't know what else to say besides it's not. I've done it the gas way. I've done it this way. I don't want a gas car. I just don't. In any aspect. I want to charge. I want to do this. I don't know how to like get that across, but that's it. All right, so we're leaving the hotel. Stephanie's driving. Why are you driving?
So it's not really driving.
It's okay. I was surprised. We got in the car. I got just right in the driver's seat. And she's like, you want me to drive first? I was like, okay.
I have energy now. I won't later.
All right, well, that works.
So you can rest now and I'll rest later.
Cool. So we're off to drive. We're starting at 96%. Well, not 95%. It was 96% this morning after running the cooler all night and having Central Mode on the whole time, so not bad. And then I haven't preheated for, I don't know, maybe 15 minutes before we got in here, and it was still at 96% until we got in. Now it just dropped down to 95. So that is approximately 299 miles. Our first stop, it says we're going to arrive with 13%, which is awesome. If it's like any of our other stops, it will actually be more than that, because pretty much every time we gain a few percent. But hopefully we'll lose a few percent this time. I mean, rolling in with 4, you know, or 3% would just be perfect, but we'll see how it goes. All right, so we're hopping back on the highway here. We still have not gone to a supercharger. We actually were able to skip 2 superchargers to go to a much farther one. The Cybertruck took us off the highway quite a while ago and took us on all these back roads. And it turns out this is why. It's really backed up. And it's pretty funny because at first the map didn't look too bad. Like, it wasn't that backed up. And as time went on, the part we avoided just got more and more and more busy. So it seemed like a better decision as time went on. So that was really nice. There were parts of that with no internet at all, which, you know, whatever. We could have survived, but having the Starlink, we just plugged it in. It took about 2 or 3 minutes for it to get connected to satellites, probably because we were in motion. And then we had internet again, even in those parts with absolutely no cell service whatsoever. So the setup, the experience, everything has just been really nice. Cybertruck continues to do pretty much everything for me. Stephanie had some weirdness earlier in the rain where she took over a little bit, but for me so far it's been working really well.
I drove the Cybertruck through some heavy rain, and luckily FSD did not shut down on me. It did cap the max speed, which is fine. The issue I had is when it went in the passing lane, it crossed over the yellow line onto like the rumble strips quite a bit, and so I had to take over to keep it in the lane because I wasn't about to get a flat tire or something. But that was really the only issue I had, and it only has happened to me so far during the heavy rain, so I don't know if it just has to do with the vision or what.
Well, everything is ruined as of right now. We just went to get some food, and I was standing there forever. We ordered just like 2 crunch wraps, just nothing from Taco Bell, and I was standing there for, I don't know, it had to be almost 20 minutes. And so now I'm going to supercharge. Supercharge is right there. And Stephanie's just going to walk the food over because it's so close. Like, you could just do that. But then I'm stuck behind that semi that was waiting forever to get out of here. This is just like craziness. We've added probably 30 minutes to this trip just because of this one stop. We wanted to, you know, get the food, plug in, you know, we can eat, feed the kids there. They have their own stuff in the cooler and stuff. But now we're just like trapped. Oh my gosh, we've added so much time for basically nothing. It is extremely frustrating. And none of it really has to do with charging, besides the fact that we're trying to go charge right now. It's just like, man, one little thing can just add so much time. And there's just so much traffic here. This is insane. If I would have known this situation, obviously I would have just went and plugged in, walked over there and got the food and then came back. But you don't know. You just don't know those things. So we added a lot of time, and this is super frustrating and annoying. All right, so as we're charging, you can see, oh, come on, get that out of there. That's Taco Bell right there. So that's where we were. It's so hard to get over here. I don't know what is going on here, but there's like a bajillion cops, and it's very crowded. But we have a great charge rate, so 256% or 256 kilowatts at 18%, which is nice. Only 20 minutes to continue on trip. I don't know exactly. And Stephanie's out there in the rain too. She didn't take the umbrella, so that sucks. 20 minutes only to charge to continue. I don't know. We're going to look at the chargers available, but we'll probably just get out of here as fast as we can and move along. So now that the charging is done, it's really not that big of a deal. It was kind of frustrating there for a second, but there we are. This is still an awful location for a supercharger. It was really tight and hard to get back here. It did add a lot of time. We have a little more traffic to get through, but after that, should be pretty smooth sailing the whole way. So glad charge rates have been good. We're also out of the cold. It's nice and warm here now, almost 70 degrees. Let's get it. All right, so here we go, plugging in. Again, it's only a 15-minute charge. I have not really been looking at anything, the charging stats or anything. I've just been trying to move. The kids this year are so much more capable at road tripping, I guess is how I would put it, that we've been able to really like move through all these superchargers a lot faster than previous years, which has been fun. It's a different experience. I kind of like the chill, just kind of getting there, plugging in, like, yeah, we'll go when we're ready. But we've pretty much been able to just kind of get through all these superchargers like really quickly. So nice little spot here right on the end. Lots of activity on this one. Check this out. So there's a Rivian R1S charging over there. So on this road trip so far, we've seen two, what? Out of order? So I had to move over because I went to the out of order one. I didn't even look. I didn't pay attention. I read it on the map and then I just parked and took this one because it was open. That's so funny. Out of 20, of course, I picked the one out of 20 that's not working. No big deal. We're plugged in, moved over. Stephanie's like waving at me like, hey, what are you doing out there? This cable seems a little, I think this is version 3. So anyway, yeah, we've just been getting through these really quickly. Quick, fast charges. But all working really well. But as I was saying, it's just funny to see. We've seen 2 Rivians at superchargers and 0 other Cybertrucks. All right, what do you think?
Woo! I don't like this location because there's nothing here. But
can we go in that bowling alley? It looks like a lot of people are going in there. Let's try it. All right. All right, what do you think of this supercharger with like a bajillion cars at it? You don't like it? Why not? You want to stay here? Well, we gotta go. All right, so almost to the next charger. We're stuck in a lot of traffic. Florida seems to just be like that. We were gonna arrive at the charger with 11%. I was like, oh, that's pretty good.
I think it was 9.
And then, well, it did, yeah, it went down to 9%. I was like, that's pretty good. And then I realized it was a Buc-ee's. So I actually switched it to a later charger. And it said 8%. I was like, this is awesome. We're gonna get a good charge at this one. And now it says 12%. I don't know. Cybertruck for us, this happened last year too, even before they really figured out all the routing and stuff. It's just, I don't know if it's more efficient than they originally predict. I just would like to get really deep into that battery pack to really try out some of that, you know, faster charging and the lower speeds. But even the last stop was like 12 minutes, which was really nice. So now that we're just kind of following along with the route, doing the supercharger stops as the car suggests, we got 2 more super short ones. I think they're both supposed to be like 15 minutes or maybe even less than that. But the last one, we'll hang out there a little extra. We're gonna go grocery shopping. It's at a Publix. And we want to get some extra charge so we arrive at the house with a little bit of charge, and then don't have to go supercharge again until tomorrow or the next day or whatever. So again, the traffic's kind of annoying, but beyond that, it's going really well. We're at whatever this one is. I don't even know, but this was full. This is the last charger there. Oh no, there's 2 more over there. Okay, I thought it was full. It's almost full, but we're pulling in here. Hey, how's it going?
My son loves your Cybertruck.
Oh, cool. Check it out.
You let him check it out?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, you can check it out. My kids are in there too. No problem. We've actually made it to the warm weather. 75 and sunny. We escaped the grip of the cold north. Finally. So this is basically it. The truck's been ready for 1 or 2 minutes for us to take off. But we have that one last stop in Titusville, which we're gonna park and go grocery shopping there anyway. So if we get there with a little extra charge, like, it just doesn't matter at this point. It doesn't change our time, it doesn't really change anything. But we're gonna hop on the road. We'll keep checking in a couple more times, and I'll probably do like a final conclusion, go over the charging time and stuff with you, but that's about it. Well, here we go. We're about to pull into our last supercharger stop. We found one that, again, was farther away than originally planned because we charged a little extra. This is closer to our final destination, and we're getting some cold food and stuff, so this will work out better. We can just charge here. I don't know, time doesn't matter at this at all. We're going to plug in, go grocery shopping, and leave. And the truck should have plenty of charge by then. This is a Winn-Dixie. And these are the places where I really appreciate FSD. I've never been here in my life. I don't know where anything is, how to get anywhere. And FSD can just kind of do this stuff for you and get you where you're going. It makes it so much easier. So I will probably just check in one final time, like tomorrow or something, to finish up the video. Tell you the final stats of the charging time, the time we spent charging and all that, and update you on all that. So hope you enjoyed so far. See you in a bit. Ooh, these are the sideways ones. Here it is, the final plug-in. Will it even reach? I thought I was almost too far back, but I might have to actually back up a little bit more. Maybe. Alrighty, so we've been in Florida for a few days. It's been awesome. It's like 70 to 80 degrees. It's super sunny. Back in Michigan, it's snowing. So we definitely picked a good time of year to go. So I don't want to make this too long. Obviously, it's a long video, but I do want to wrap up everything for you. So if you look at the final stats of the drive, we are at 1,277.3 miles, 76% efficiency throughout the whole trip. And then if we look at charging time, it'll say 4 hours and 28 minutes, but really 1 hour and 21 of those minutes was at the hotel where I was talking like in the middle of the video during our overnight stop. So I would subtract that 1 hour and 21 minutes because we were at that hotel anyway. And if we weren't able to charge at the hotel, we wouldn't have charged for 1.5 hours. We would have done another, 20 or 30 minute charge. So really, the final time is 3 hours and 7 minutes of charging. We charge 9 times if you don't include the hotel stop. And we had, I think, 1 or 2, maybe 2 additional stops on top of the charges. So, overall, when you have, again, it is 21 hours and 21 minutes of driving versus about 3 hours of charging. It's really not that bad. And I was really thinking about what I was saying in the middle of the video during that hotel stop. And I don't know if I said this during that time or not, but I think what people don't really think about is that, when you go on a road trip like this, you don't drive and then you get gas for 5 minutes, and then you drive away for 6 hours, and then you get gas for 5 minutes and you drive for 6 hours. You can do that, don't get me wrong, but for the most part you don't. You stop and you get gas, and then you have to park the car, and then you go use the bathroom and get your food or whatever. So I think when people see like, whoa, 3 hours of charging, it only takes me 5 minutes to get gas, they don't realize that during those 3 hours we're not standing there staring at the car. We're eating, we're going to use the bathroom, we're walking somewhere, we're getting something out of the back, we're doing stuff that whole time. Our time is occupied. It's not just like, we're ready to go, I wish we could not be sitting here for 3 hours. It's blah, 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 let's do this, and then move on. So again, I'm not like, obviously you can force yourself to do those crazy road trips. I've done them in the past, where I, just go and don't stop and just stop for gas, as minimal as possible. But this experience overall is just so much more enjoyable. And what's funny is the weather was actually really good. We had rain like the whole time, which I didn't expect. And so I think that slowed us down a little bit. The fog in the mountains slowed us down, but the temperature was pretty good the whole time. It was pretty mild. It wasn't really that cold. So the rain was definitely unexpected, but no big deal. Everything in the back stayed dry. I don't think we even needed the tarp, but whatever, it was back there. And then if we compare it to last year, I'll just put the screenshot up. I don't want to, go over this too much by talking, but you can compare the screenshots, and then I'll put the charging time again. This 17 hours, of course, is ridiculous, and it includes hotel charging. So I'll put the just supercharging hours there so you can compare. But this is a slightly different route, I think. And I was surprised to see the 83% efficiency last year versus this year having so much worse efficiency, because especially in the beginning of the way down last year, temperatures were way colder than they were this year. So, whatever happened, we had less driving time last year, even though there were more miles. We had way more drives, though, because on the way down, we did more extra stops. And it took us a lot longer also because we were talking to people on like every stop on the way down, and extra stops, people would want to talk to us when we just try to, stop and get food or whatever. So, that it took a lot longer last year because of that. But overall, I would say it was pretty comparable. Like, I didn't think, man, this year was so much different, than the drive last year. It seemed pretty comparable to me. But yeah, we used less energy this year. We had a lower average speed because I'm guessing, again, because of the rain and the fog and stuff. So the way home will be a separate video. I'm pretty interested because, we get the polar vortex coming in the next few days. It's coming all the way down to Florida. I don't know if it's going to get quite this low, but Michigan's going to be in the negatives, and Florida, I think we're going to get down to like 60. So I'm more than happy to be here where the weather's going to be 60 degrees and hanging out, rather than at home where I just like don't want to leave, don't want to go outside, don't want to do anything because everything's so frozen. So yeah, this is a great time of year to come to Florida. Expenses are relatively cheap because it's not the most popular time. Like, everyone already did their traveling, right, during the holidays. Now that the holidays are over, people are done traveling. So the prices on everything we're doing it seems pretty good and everything. So yeah, overall, if you have any questions, leave those down below. But that's the drive. It went almost too smoothly. It's like, what's this video about? Like, yeah, we drove down to Florida. Like, people do that every day. But check out for part 2 for the way home, because like I was saying, that polar vortex might, I don't know if it's going to last that long. I don't know what the condition's going to be on the way home. But again, it's going to be mid-January, and that's a terrible time of year weather-wise. It's normally very cold, lots of snow. So we'll see if we have to deal with those things on the way home. I hope not. But at the same time, if we do, then it'll make a more interesting video. But still, I'd rather just get home easily and safely and efficiently. So anyway, if you have any questions, leave them down below. Happy to answer any real, like, serious questions. If you just are here because you hate Cybertruck, I don't understand how you even made it to this point in the video. But there's people out there that watch these videos and tell me how much, they hate the Cybertruck and think it's ugly and would never buy it. And why are you watching? Why did you search Cybertruck, or why did you click this video and watch it? I don't know, it's strange, but thanks for watching. I still appreciate you watching. Hope you enjoyed, and you will see me and maybe Cybertruck in the next video.